All right, my friends, going out for another walk. Talking to a guy just a few minutes ago. He was in a world of hurt, health-wise, world of hurt. Couldn't move, hardly. Couldn't walk, hardly. Was an active guy. Was getting big not in a good way. Late 50s, plenty of years ago. But he was, it was bad, a bad situation. So they can operate on him, do surgery, all that stuff, dope him up. But he came across a video on the carnivore diet. And I asked him, I said, hey man, we'll call him Joe. I said, you think, and I didn't get the impression if he's like a Christian guy or what, I don't know. Doesn't matter. I said, just on YouTube one day, and all of a sudden, this a thing called autoimmune deficiency, not AIDS, but just where your health comes on your YouTube feed. Now, I think, obviously, I do think the phones hear you, I tell you, and that's whatever. It is what it is. You know, if you got certain apps in there, they're going to hear you, and they're going to feed to Yahoo or YouTube, Google. In fact, my wife and I were watching Jamestown yesterday, and it's episode 8 of the first season, where they brought the African slaves in their shackles. And that doesn't freaking break your heart, nothing will, especially when self-proclaimed Christians are doing this. Ugh. And I don't want to hear, like, oh, they did in Africa. I get that. I don't want to hear it. Slavery is evil, regardless of who does it. And Christians shouldn't be in the business of enslaving people. Anyway, oh, Abraham did? Okay. Was Abraham a Christian? Because Jesus wasn't born before Abraham. Are you discounting the good book? No, I'm just saying, didn't Jesus change everything? Yeah, that's the thing about Christianity. Jesus refreshed, cleansed us all, and changed everything. So what was before was cleansed. You know, Noah's Ark couldn't do it because humanity is evil. So Jesus says, I'm going to come and give you a fresh start. And here we are, enslaving people under the flag of the Christian church. Freaking, oh, man. That's one of the things I'm somewhat, reparations, I'm somewhat sympathetic to that. Because you cannot deny the fact that a certain group of people were brought here and held back for generations, hundreds and hundreds of years. You just can't deny that. So while your grandfathers and great-grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers were going, working in Wall Street or University of Virginia, Harvard, whatnot, certain group of people's grandfathers and great-grandfathers and great-great-grandfathers could not acquire property. And so when that can be passed down generation to generation, and some people can't, that's starting from behind. There's no other way around that. Anyway, so we're watching this Jamestown and just seeing these people, enslaved just breaks your heart. And so I typed in, after the show was over, I typed into Google, and the very first thing that came up was, when did slavery end? And I was like, I didn't say anything about slavery. I just said, when did? You try it. Try that experiment, man. Type into Google on your phone, when did, and just see what comes up. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did it come up, when did anything to do with slavery? Why would it do that? I mean, I say, when did Dave Mustaine leave Metallica? You know what I'm saying? But it didn't come up that. It came up, when did slavery? You're telling me that's one of the most Googled terms under when did slavery is XXX? Come on, man. Nuts. They're listening to you. No other way around that. So all I can think is this guy's search history led Yahoo/Google to put something in his feed. And I get that, but he wasn't deliberately searched on YouTube for this. And so something about immune deficiencies came up, and it was about some diet called the carnivore diet. I'm not all that familiar with it. I'm familiar with Jordan Peterson's daughter, I think Michaela, I believe, talks all about that. I'm not that familiar with it. But this guy's he said a vegetarian. Not a vegan, but he's a vegetarian. And he always said he was proud of himself going to Whole Foods and always having greens and all that, no meats. But it's killing him on the inside, literally, because he wasn't eating a healthy diet. Now, why am I saying all this? Well, Financial Planning 101 If you ain't around, my friends, all the financial play in the world's not going to do a freaking doggone thing for you. You need to be in good health. Or else you might as well just plan to take Social Security at 62 and call it a career at 70 because you're going to be out. You can't have that. Now, it might happen too, regardless, but... So the point of this, you got to be in good shape. Now, how do you get in good shape? Well, the number one thing is a diet. And this goes back to why I'm cynical about all this crap, about global warming, about vaccines, about health food, the nutrition guidelines, because we've been fed so much crap in our lives, you don't know what to believe. I think you're better off just saying, I'm not sure I'm going to believe anything until I find it out myself. Because do you know the story behind the nutrition guide, the food pyramid from which I was raised under? Now they got the food plate. Dwight Eisenhower had a heart attack. His doc, I guess, was in the cahoots with Ansel Keys of some sorts. Ansel Keys from the University of Minnesota, the guy who did the 7 countries fraudulent study. So Ansel Keys and his band of merry men, anti-fat, high-carb prognosticators, told Dwight Eisenhower's doctor about the nutrition that Dwight Eisenhower should follow, which meant getting rid of cholesterol, low-fat stuff, blah, 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 blah. Dwight Eisenhower was the president of the United States. When his doctor, and I don't know what happened with the Surgeon General, you can read that, but when Dwight Eisenhower's doctor says, we're going to follow this model from Ansel Keys, and Ansel Keys is just like Michael Mann, which is a notorious bully when it comes to anyone who challenges his credentials in terms of his theories. Not that they're proven, they're just theories. Hypothesis, they're not proven. This isn't gravity. Well, anyway, so that takes over the mainstream. Now think you're an academic and you're like, I'm not sure about this. And Ansel Keys has now staffed and followers of him because he has the power. So his followers now are populating all the health nutrition universities and then the NIH, National Institute for Health, and all that stuff. And their whole career is based on following Ansel Keys' methodology. And that's how they got their levels of power. So now you come along, and there's a guy, I forgot his name, in the 60s, who said, no, I challenge this. Just like all science past, they ridiculed him, they ran him out. Ignaz Semmelweis back in the 1800s. Galileo, the list goes on and on. The fault patterns was the continental faults. The list goes on and on and on of people who challenged the orthodoxy and were thrown to the wolves because the orthodoxy has one mission only, to protect its power. So we got Ansel Keys, that has his silly recipes for food dominated America and then the world, because it comes from America, it's going to the world for generations. Kids get fatter, kids get less healthy. It's not being sedentary or whatever it's called. It's the crap you're putting in your food, in your belly. Look, I'm guilty number one because I love sweets. And I just bought some Twizzlers today. I know I'm shamed. But on the friggin' thing, it says it's a no-fat candy or whatever, no-fat treat. That doesn't mean crap. Still got friggin' tons of sugar in there. When I still ate it, knowing full well because I like it. But I'm telling you, talking to my man Joe, going on his carnivore diet, he just got rid of sweets outright. I said, did you like sweets beforehand? He goes, oh yeah. I said, how'd you do it? Well, he goes, after a while, I just don't crave it anymore. Kind of like smoking. I gave him an example. I said, I used to smoke. I love cigarettes. I still like the smell. I don't want to smoke anymore, though. He said, yeah, same thing. He used to smoke, too. He goes, he quit in 1999. Now he just has no desire to do that whatsoever. I don't have any desire to do it either. I do like the smell of someone smoking. But it doesn't make me like, oh, I got to have a cigarette. He goes, that's the same thing happens with him with candy. He just doesn't, he has no desire for it anymore. And yet, as work, there's all these candy jars and whatnot, and people walking by all the time. Hell, I've done that. Just, I'll take one. I'll take another. Next thing you know, you've taken 10 day in, day out on top of whatever else crap you eat. Like this, my man Joe, he likes chocolate ice cream. Let me see if I can't get a horse. Nay! Nay! See if they can come out. Nay! I don't see any horses coming out. This house is for sale. They might, oh, well, I guess they got the sign down. They might have got the horse. Nay! Pulled the horses out because they're trying to sell that house. They had it under contract. But they've been trying to sell this house for a while. Got to be careful when you're buying these rich, fancy houses, my friends. There's a very limited demand for your fancy schmancy house. Just be advised. Actually, talk to this guy, Joe. He's renting. He sold his house last year. He's going to leave his company. He's going to go renting. He says that's the best thing he ever did because now he can just go wherever he wants. I said, man, he goes, he's relieved. Doesn't have any worries about it whatsoever. So that's not a bad thing right there. I go back and forth between renting and owning. We'll see. We'll see what your old buddy Josh wants to do once the crumb crunchers are out of the house. All right, so back to the crap they're telling us to put in our bodies. Do you think we know for a fact now that that was bad? Cholesterol is not bad. Eggs are not bad. Bacon's not bad. We know this. All right, so why would then you turn around and believe everything else they say has got to be true? I don't get it. I mean, why else? Why would you? People are dying because of what the government has told us to do. The same government who wasn't that long ago was giving, what's her name? Freaking the lady from Planned Parenthood. I forgot her name off the top of my head. But they were doing eugenic stuff on black men to see if they could get them to not have babies and stuff. I mean, this is the same government that does that stuff. Why would you trust just what they say? I just don't get it. The government has a history of being on the wrong end of many, many things. I just don't get it. Did Dwight Eisenhower send National Guardsmen into Arkansas to get those little black girls to go to school? Yes. Has the government done good things? Yes, absolutely. Yes. But let's just say it's 50-50. Now, even that I say, I think that's giving the benefit of the doubt. Why would you just say, hey, all those vaccines are good. I trust them. Why? We trusted them when it comes to health, and yet the health that we have is an epidemic. And here's my thing. People say, oh, this one guy, you must be a flat earther. I'm like, I'm not a flat earther. That doesn't make any sense. But let me just give my example. I got 4 kids. I probably shared this with you before. I can share it with you again. My wife's got 8 brothers and sisters. I got 2. So there's 11 of us running around here. Not a one has any allergies or anything like that. Not a one of them. I got 4 kids. All of them have allergies. All of them. Asthma, allergies, the whole thing. Peanut allergies and allergies run rampant in schools nowadays. I don't remember that growing up. Now that's anecdotal. That's RFK Jr. stuff. Like, oh, I remember we had a whole lot more snow than we do now. Global warming. Look, I don't want to be like that, but I've got 4 kids in public schools all up and down from Texas to Virginia to New Jersey to Georgia. Seen a lot of different classrooms and a lot of different kids sitting at the allergy-free table. Why? It wasn't like that when I was growing up. Are we able to identify it? Sure, absolutely. But facts are, peanut allergies kill kids. So if kids had peanut allergies back in the day, wouldn't we've had more anaphylactic shock, just in a regular classroom because they couldn't identify it? No, we didn't have that. I mean, I'm sure we've been able to identify it better than we could back then. But what's causing this? Aren't you at all concerned? Or at least curious? Why do so many kids have allergies and asthma now? Pollution, maybe? Might well be. I don't know. But the studies they've done on vaccines, it's not on the 18/19 the CDC recommends in their list, which many, even relatively conservative people, actually mostly conservative people, want to mandate that. And yet they have no study that says these allergies given to a child, an infant, within 18 months of birth or 24, are safe from whatever can come down the pike. We have none. Could it be allergies? Could it be pollution? I don't know. Aren't you curious to know why so many more kids have allergies? There's no answer for that. Look, like I said, give me a reason to ask. I'm okay with that. But knowing what we know about the government, telling what your diet should be, and just how horrible that turned out to be, on top of all the other experiments and tests they did with innocent people, on top of the mistakes they make time and again, the default shouldn't be trust them. The default should be say, why? Why is this being mandated? Why is this being recommended? What's the proof? And then when people challenge the proof, i.e. global warming, don't mock them and ridicule them so that they can't have a job anymore, where you're running them out because they're heretics. This is crazy, and it's exactly what happens in science, exactly what happens in health. I mean, we know this for a fact. Nutrition frustrates me to no end, because these aren't seekers of the truth. These are people who want to expand their power. And hell's bells if you happen to fall under their truck while they're driving you over. It's not good, man. Josh, you're paranoid. I'm a financial planner. Financial planners should be paranoid, man. That's all there is to it. Paranoid because we want to make sure you don't run out of money. But we also want to make sure you don't run out of time, i.e. dying too soon. You got to be alive to enjoy the fruits of your labor, my friends. You got to be alive. And following the model established by our loving, benevolent government is not something you should do haphazardly. You need to look into it deep and say, could there be something wrong here? Could we be doing something differently that could help us lead better lives, that could keep us alive for longer, as opposed to just saying, flat earther, Jenny McCarthy. Next thing you know, I don't even know what it is. We didn't land on the moon. I had a journalist, purportedly, whatever, some guy on the YouTube. I'm a journalist. You're like a flat earther, Josh. I said, that's the problem, you journalism people. Anyone who disagrees with you, or is even curious, you want to initially label them as something. This is, again, the false dichotomy. It's A or B. There is no C. Never mind a Z. It's got to be A or B. I'm A. Inherently, if you're not A, you must be B. That's not true. There's lots of other things other than A and B. And just to put people in this dichotomy of you're over there and I'm over here, that's not good. And you see what the media is doing, right? And you see what the government wants to do, which is have people at each other's throats. They don't want people loving on each other, being helpful. They want chaos because they can go in there and fix the chaos and make sure that bad guy, that Proud Boys, or what, Antifa. I mean, look, Antifa is stupid. Proud Boys, I'm not saying they're stupid, but these people aren't dominant of society. My man Glenn Reynolds had written in a blog post a few weeks back where he's driving in Tennessee. A big accident happened. I think a couple people died. 2-hour delay. And all these people, black and white, old and young, men and women, were getting out of the car to help. That's America. Nothing to do with the government, just people being people, loving on each other. So Antifa and Proud Boys at each other's throat, well, man, let them do that. It shouldn't affect you. Who cares? I mean, literally, a couple of people being stupid, I don't care. Rabble rousing, don't care. The real America is what Glenn Reynolds was writing about. People helping each other when there's a car crash. People in need, they need assistance. I'll never forget. Let me just yapping here. I remember Allen Iverson. You may or may not remember Allen Iverson. He was from Georgetown. John Thompson gave him a chance because I think he was from Hampton Roads or something like that. I think that's where Michael Vick and Marcus Vick and all these guys, a lot of good athletes. I think even Moses Malone was from that way. Anyway, rough and tumble area of Virginia. Allen Iverson, he looked like a punk. He was the first, Dennis Rodman, and then Allen Iverson led the tattoo revolution where everybody has tats nowadays. If you want to be cool, don't get a tat, that's for sure, because everybody's getting the tats, all the cool kids are. But anyway, it was always easy to think Allen Iverson's a punk, and that's just being prejudiced. And I fell for it too. I read one time though, there's a car crash on, I think it was 95 in Virginia, or going to Florida or something like that. And Albert Iverson stopped the car, got out, and rescued these people from, I think it was like a fire or something like that. I just, that was righteous. It made me sad because all the stuff I thought about this guy, and yeah, here he was. I'm not saying he's risking his life, but he's stopping a car in 95 in of itself is dangerous. Going out to a car that's set on fire to rescue people you don't know, that's an honorable thing, which dwarfs anything he's done in the past that we might hold him in contempt for because we're prejudiced. So that's me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now, could Allen Iverson have behaved better part of his career? Yeah. Could I have behaved better when I was young? Absolutely. Should we live like Allen Iverson was just out of Georgetown? Probably not. Should we live like your old buddy Josh when I was E3 in the Army? Probably not. Young men do young men things. Some grow, some don't. But at the end of the day, Allen Iverson rescued somebody who was in a car that was burning on 95. I didn't do that. Would I have? I don't know. I'd like to think I would have, but I have no idea. Shouldn't forget that. That's why I watch my man Flemlo Raps. I interviewed him a while ago. Talk about the stories of various football players and whatnot. Man, you hear their stories. Awful hard to hang on to some prejudice by a certain group of young men when you hear some of these stories a guy go through and how they act out because there's no one there to show them a better path. Shouldn't hold them in contempt because it's just makes you look at your own soul, man. Say, what would Jesus say? Remember that? What would Jesus do? WWJD. WWJD. Yeah, it's kind of trite, cliched anymore. I think it's still good words, good thought to live by. What would Jesus do? Would Jesus seek a deeper meaning in Allen Iverson's behavior? Or would Jesus just write him off as a punk kid, no good? I think you know the answer to that. I certainly do. We could all strive to be better like that. Anyway, the point is the government and the authorities, regardless of who they are, want you against each other. Pitting black versus white, men versus women, whatever. Because that keeps them in authority. That means you choose sides. And you're going to choose a side and they're going to win. Whatever side you choose, they're going to win. Because they're all part of the same situation. They're all part of the swamp. They're all part of that governing authority. And the powerful want what they want. We know this in just basic economics and public choice theory. The powerful, they want more power. And they do that by taking your power away from you because to keep you safe from whoever the boogeyman of the day is and gathering it for themselves. And it will turn on you at some point. I guarantee. It will turn on you. You think you might be in power now. And this is what happened with George W. Bush. Our side was winning. Yeah, Patriot Act, our side was winning. Then when Obama got in there, I said, wait a second. I didn't realize the stuff I was advocating for under Bush would be used by Obama. That's not how I want it to work. And then I realized, I took my red pill. I said, wait a second. Both these guys run the same operation here. One's a little bit more to the left, one's a little bit more to the right, but it's all the same operation. Separating you from your personal liberty. Yeah, all right, I guess that's all I got to say on this ramble. We'll see ya.